And the band we've been keeping an eye on, we're going to have a chat to shortly. That is Scattering Ashes.
Yep.
They've got their second album, The Gift.
Yes, good album.
Great album, really good album. And they are... Just listen. I'm not going to pigeonhole them.
Just listen. I
Just
think that's
listen.
the best way.
We've got a track before we play them, but we've basically got a track this Sumerian Hour. We've got an interview with the guys, and then the track The Gift. So please do stay tuned, because that's our gift to you is new music. And
Exactly.
That's what we will always try and do.
Of course we will.
Our Valentine's Day gift to every single one of you listening. And if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, well, shame on you. You should always love music, and therefore that's what this show has been about. was Sumerian Hour from the marvellous Scattering Ashes. And lo and behold, we have 3 Ashes of the Scattering variety. Joining us right now, we've got Andy, Dan and Wayne.
Good morning. Hello.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Are you feeling in the love mood?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Feeling very romantic today, of course.
So you're going to have the hearts and, just because we're metalers doesn't mean we can't love everyone as well. In fact, I think there's been some research this week that's proved that we're all better to each other, aren't we? We're nicer people, us metalers.
Quite right, we are. Aren't we?
Yeah, I saw that too. I believe that completely. For anybody that's ever been to a festival, you definitely feel the love there.
Definitely.
Quite right, too. And are you nice to each other in the band? Do you get on with each other in the band?
You've got to, haven't you, really? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One would hope so.
Yeah, as long as everybody agrees with me, we get on fine.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think there's been quite a lot of agreement in the Metal to the Masses where you are, hasn't there, recently? And last year as well?
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, it's a great competition. It's a great opportunity for lots of really top quality self-signed bands to get themselves in front of a big cross-section of fans, introduce themselves to new audiences. And it's more of a community than a competition, it feels at times. It is a very inclusive competition, and we skipped it for a couple of years. We got to the finals the first year we tried, and we just picked to the post. And then we had a couple of big gigs, as you know. We played Download, and that ruled us out for that year. So we thought we'd give it another bash this year, and so far so good. We've been really enjoying being part of it.
What was Download like to play for you?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, the guys can pitch in. For me, it was the gig of a lifetime, and you kind of really benefit from the level of organisation and support you get at those gigs. It was probably the least nervous I'd ever been walking on stage, because for once I wasn't on my hands and knees plugging in amps and checking my cables worked about 5 minutes before we went on. So I was very calm on that morning.
Yeah, I think we were just trying to love it, like, for what it is. We just all went on and just played out as best we could, really, and just thoroughly enjoyed the moment. So it was great.
Yeah, it was tremendous. A bucket list moment.
Oh, that's so. I love it when you hear the passion and the energy that you guys have got for it, because so many people have that honour and then whittle it away, if you like. They go, oh, they don't take the advantage. They don't actually say, do you know what, this is a bucket list moment. So it's great to hear that. If you were going to have another bucket list moment, what would it be?
It'd be quite nice to win Metal to the Masses and play Bloodstock this year.
That would be good.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things that I've got in mind. I mean, it would be lovely to get a support slot with a really big band and play an arena, just again for the experience of it. But yeah, it'd be good to do some more festivals. We always enjoy those, and the crowd response, as we said, the metal audience is such a friendly bunch that you always get a great response.
How difficult is it for a band like yours, who've done Download, got a really good reaction, to then go back and do smaller gigs?
To be honest, it's kind of normality for us, and I guess it's kind of normality for a lot of self-signed bands these days. What it taught us, I thought, was that you kind of have to be more selective in the gigs you play. So we deliberately don't play more than once a month. We try and play in different cities, because obviously, you're going to bore people if you appear too many times in the same city. So and you do, I mean, I've always said that even if your favourite band played town every week, you'd probably stop going to see them every weekend pretty quickly.
Yes, you're right.
So yeah, we try and play slightly bigger venues that have got a slightly better reputation, but we don't do it so often. And we did reasonably well with that last year. We've been playing O2 Academy venues. We've sort of branched out sort of beyond just the Birmingham sort of circle. We managed to get up to Wolverhampton the other week. That was pretty good.
How exciting.
Almost international there.
Yeah, very.
Have you crossed the border?
Yeah. Have you done any international gigs?
I have on my own in my other job capacity, only getting up and playing one or two songs. But to be completely frank, playing gigs overseas with Scattering Ashes is logistically costly. So it really comes down to finding a way of doing the deal that didn't end up costing us a fortune. But we've had a couple of offers to play places like Poland, and I think it is something we'd be amenable to if we could make the economics work for us. Get more on board.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I mean, how do you think that things could change for bands to make that a little bit easier? Because I think with Brexit, obviously, things are going to get a little bit more difficult. Potentially, but right now, is there anything, can the community come together? Because I've seen some interesting collaborations where bands are literally staying on each other's sofas and
Floors,
sharing kit and things like that to try and make it a little bit less frictionless.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the way to do it. You see it at bands at a much higher level than us. You'll see bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Stone Sour buddying up for tours these days to make sure they can capacitise the venues effectively. And I think at our level, you probably want to buddy up with, say, 5 bands and put a mini tour together where you kind of share in logistics costs, accommodation costs, and you do it that way. And we quite often now play gigs where there's 4 or 5 bands on the bill, so we get a good attendance at the venue. But also you get to know the bands that are musically complementary to the stuff that you do yourself. And that's a big step forwards for us, because kind of when you're starting out, you say you're a metal band, and as we all know, there are many, many genres of metal, and we quite often find ourselves on the bill with kind of young screamo or post-hardcore bands, and wouldn't really fit. But we're well enough known on our local circuit now that we get teamed up with the more melodic, more kind of classic metal bands, as it were, which works a lot better for us, and works a lot better from an audience point of view as well.
In your dreams, what big band do you think you'd love to support? Because it would, A, be perfect getting in front of a huge crowd, and B, would fit musically.
Ooh,
that's a difficult one, because like some bands you like idolise, and I would, I just want to watch them rather than like play with them.
Yeah, slight problem.
I mean, rather than very diplomatic that was, Dan. He could be a politician, couldn't he? I'll name
musical
some
politician
names for you. I'd love us to support somebody like Mastodon, because we have tremendous respect for the band, and they're a mature band as well.
Yeah.
And we saw them in Wolverhampton. Dan and I went up there to watch them around Christmas time, and they put a couple of interesting bands on with them. They had Red Fang with them as well.
Yes.
But I felt like that was a gig that Scattering Ashes could have played and been well received at. Yeah. Bigger bands, the issue with bigger bands is, let's say Iron Maiden for one. They've got such loyal fans. It's quite difficult to stand up in front of them. But a band like Killswitch, I'd love to support a band like Killswitch Engage or Avenged Sevenfold. Those are the kind of bands that I think we musically resonate with our audience.
Yeah, we fit quite well with them.
Yeah.
I can see that. What about doing your own festival, Scattering Fest?
You can have that one for free.
Interestingly enough, my day job, as it were, is I work in the car industry for Jaguar, and we did Jag Fest last summer,
right,
where we got some bands together and we kind of sort of joint headlined it, and that would have been a good festival were it not for the fact that it absolutely peed it down in August. And we were all confined into a relatively small tent. So yeah, a metal band playing incredibly loud music at a very confined audience of car industry people was an interesting experience for them.
Yes, a real challenge, and hopefully they learned something from it.
Well, what was really nice, because a lot of people that, if they're not rock fans, they have no concept of the genre, but pretty much everybody to a man and woman came back and said, A, you were way more melodic than we expected. Mm-hmm. B, crikey, you guys can play well. You're really tight, and I don't think anybody understood the level of competencies that's required to play metal, really. So it was all very kind of, oh, blimey, you guys are really good and you can play your instruments well, and we weren't expecting it to be so enjoyable. So that was all positive.
That is actually. You say you play about once a month. Do you do a lot of rehearsing in that month as well?
Yeah, we rehearse. We're very much creatures of habit in Scattering Ashes. We rehearse every Sunday evening at a local rehearsal studios that we've kind of made our nest in, as it were. We're very settled there. And because we all enjoy playing, and because we also all have other jobs, it's nice for us to get together and play once a week for the joy of playing music. And I mean, I think I speak for the other guys when I say that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, even if we weren't gigging or we weren't writing material, I just like getting in a room with a bunch of other like-minded musicians and playing. So, and I find it. I have to say, I find it very cathartic as well.
Yeah.
If you've had a stressful week, I find nothing kind of eases my mind better than playing some loud metal.
Great.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And do you find that because you've got other jobs and this is, you know, a real passion and interest, and you can definitely hear that in the way that you describe everything you do you find that takes off a little bit of the edge in terms of pressure to, you know, get these tours booked, to you know, make money from music?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I would invite the guys to chip in on this. I mean, obviously we're scratching on the surface of a very big conversation that's been going on for a few years now, and people like Bruce Dickinson speak out about it regularly, and it resonates very strongly with us. But, you know, the simple truth of the matter is it's very difficult for young bands, self-signed bands, to make money via the traditional routes these days. Nobody wants to pay for music anymore. Yeah. So other than being paid for gigs and merchandise, which we scratch a living at just about, if you're not doing it for the pleasure and the enjoyment and the whole camaraderie of sharing live music, you're probably going to be dissatisfied and you're going to walk away from it. And luckily, we're not in it to make a fortune out of it. We're in it to enjoy it and have great life experiences and hopefully pick up fans along the way.
Marvellous. I mean, I think that's the greatest ethos you could have, to be honest.
No, you've got to enjoy it. That's number one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, talking about enjoying it, tell us why we should enjoy your new album, The Gift. See the tenuous link there?
Yeah, we're really proud of The Gift. It took us a very long time to write it. It probably over the space of a year between gigging and other things. It took a while to put the songs together. And it was different to Ending Eras because Ending Eras, for me, the previous album, kind of felt like a concept album. I always had a constant theme in my mind of the songs all slotting together, telling one narrative, whereas The Gift is kind of a collection of short stories, if you like, that are connected by the time period that they were written in. But in terms of why people should enjoy it, it's the best music we've written in terms of kind of technical capability. The songs, I think, are very well considered. I think we're pretty mature and established as the band we are musically now. You know, we know our sound, and I think that's something that, to avoid your discovery, that many bands go on. But we kind of know what Scattering Ashes sound like now. So because we know that, The Gift was a great opportunity to really refine and hone that. And as I say, I think the songs on there, they're maybe a little bit more commercial. They're hopefully catchy. They're hopefully melodic in a way.